Hello, hello. It's Thursday. It is 2 minutes past 8. It's the time we've been waiting for. It's the Series 3 Grand Final. And on this final episode of the series, we have player one. It's Elliott Mellor.
Oh, he's gone black on his camera. I'm not sure why.
And he is playing the famous Cappleman. It's Thomas Cappleman.
Evening.
Hello.
And then we have our stats man tonight. We always have for the finals. It's Stephen Reed.
Evening.
And we have a full team in tonight. We have George, we have Mouse, we have Bradley, and we have Fiona. And of course, our very, very, very special guest tonight, we have the fabulous Paul Zenon. Paul, welcome to ZoomDown.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
How are you doing?
Yeah, very well, thanks. Yeah, you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. So you had a bit of a session last night. Hope the head's not too rough.
New grass. Yes, we had a bit of a almost post-lockdown lock-in.
Yeah, that's good. A lockdown lock-in is just sounds music to my ears. Really, that sounds great. So it's wonderful to have you on because you're one of our collectively you're one of our favorite countdown guests. We always love to see you on the show. So it's a great fill-up for us to get you on. So thank you very much for agreeing.
Can't promise I can offer much after last night, but
I'm sure you'll do fine. I'm sure you'll do fine. So we'll come to you at the end of round 6 for a good chat. Really, we've a good bit of time to play with then, because normally we would have 2 games on a night, but the final with a bit more time to play with. So we'll have a good chat then. And if you have any good words, don't be shy in offering them. It's can't guarantee they'll be the longest offered, but if you think you're good enough for these two Supremos, help yourself.
That question's already been answered in my own mind.
And we must thank the latecomer tonight, Leslie Ann Jevons, who will be with us shortly. She's just getting home, so she'll be with us in 5 or 10 minutes. And it's through her that we got you, Paul. So we're very, very grateful to her for that as well. So it's great. The community has grown considerably since I've been involved. It's brilliant. It's great just to see. And as I said, we've had 3 series now. So we had Alan Saldana. Not sure if you know Alan Saldana. Do you remember him from? He was the probably one of the first child prodigies on Countdown long time ago in the late 80s. He was a little 10-year-old who was brilliant. So he was my sort of first Countdown hero. We had him on for series 1. He was absolute gentleman. And then we had Susie Dent for herself on for series 2, and now for yourself. So it's top fare, but it's great. It's great. The Countdown community is very, very informal, I suppose, and that's what's very good about it. Damien has been an absolute rock, and the likes of Susie and Rachel. And we were supposed to have Rachel on, but Rachel's circumstances changed, as we know. So expecting number 2, but that was probably always going to be on the cards. But maybe sometime in the future we can get her. But it's brilliant. And what do you think, Fiona?
Yeah, no, we're all really excited for tonight.
And I suppose, Fiona, we should come to you as well, because tonight you're going to be your last stream.
Yeah.
So we don't want that to be too much of a downer, Fiona.
I've loved being on. It's just time to move on, I think. So.
She's moving on to Wheel of Fortune, Paul. She's going to be turning around those letters on Wheel of Fortune very shortly. So we wish her well in that endeavour. But it's great to have the whole team here tonight. So, boys, George, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Keeping an eye on the chat tonight. A lot of compliments for Mouse's outfit.
Rightly so.
Well, we all like to make a little bit of an effort, don't we? So George and I heading on our holidays. Yeah, definitely. Mouse is a late 70s magician. Paul, was that what you say? Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, it's kind of reminds me of me when I was a teenager, basically.
Wearing your dad's suit.
The bow tie is my favourite part, actually.
Yeah, it is. Well done, Mouse. Good style. We like it.
Cheers. I think I've done the. If Paul Zenon hadn't actually got successful like this might be the look.
I might kind of go retro again. Actually, I might dig it all out again.
Yeah, I do remember. I have a Paul Daniels magic book from around the early 80s or something, and he's still wearing that. He's still wearing that kind of garb, then, isn't he? Really? So yeah.
Yeah, I've got one of the first things I got magic-wise was a signed postcard from Paul Daniels. And I remember it vividly. Had an orange satin bow tie and a white 3-piece suit.
Whoa!
Of course, the syrup as well. He had at that point as well. Yeah.
Whoa! And Debbie fancied him in that, did she? Wow.
I'm reminded of Mrs. Merton's phrase.
Yeah, we all know that. That's one of the best one-liners of all time, isn't it? It's absolute.
Which is not as well remembered, but it's quite good as well. She said, so Debbie, I remember David Copperfield making the Statue of Liberty disappear, whereas I seem to remember you, Paul, doing something with the 3 of clubs.
I have to say, but I was a fan. I suppose it was. I think we went to see him. I think we might have gone to see him in Blackpool. Did he play Would he have played Blackpool in the mid-80s? Trying to remember.
I was doing my first ever summer job, which was on the North Pier in Blackpool when he did a season. I think it was 1978. And I actually scored him a trick, which kind of, as a kid at that point, was quite a big buzz because he just went on TV. But yeah, he was doing a show with Marty Kane. Do you remember Marty Kane?
I remember Marty Kane. No, I was there '83, and I know we saw a load of people, Ross Abbott and all those, Gary Wilmot. Maybe that was a little later. I'm not sure. But I thought Paul Daniels was part of that. Maybe I'm misremembering.
You might have bumped into Damien as well at that point because he was from Blackpool.
He was. That's right. Yeah. And we're going to Blackpool this summer, Paul. If you're up for it, where there's a big co-event happening, so all the countdowners. Damien, we're trying to get Damien to go with. He has to check and see if Blackpool are playing home or away that day or something. I think that's a factor for him.
What sort of date is that?
16th of August or so.
14th.
Saturday 14th of August.
I might actually be in Blackpool at that point. For me.
Excellent. Well, there we go. Session. This sounds like there's a session happening. Right. Well, so as I say, we'll come to you for a good big long chat at the end of round 6, but we'll talk to our players now. So, Elliott Mellor, how are you doing?
Yeah, not bad, thanks.
You've been fabulous this series. So, you've played Thomas Cappleman a good few times, I would imagine, have you?
Yeah, I'd imagine he's one of my most played opponents on Actors.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly played him quite a bit recently.
He's got a fine pedigree. That surname just carries pedigree, doesn't it, in this game? Really, it's
yeah.
Great. So, what are you drinking tonight? The Pepsi or the Coke?
Well, I've got a mystery.
We're losing bandwidth a little bit there, are we?
Breaking up a bit.
Tonight, so I'm gonna let chat decide what.
You have to. Okay, we have to
drink
decide what it is.
In what?
We're not hearing you well, Elliott.
His ISP's not wanting him to reveal the secrets of what is in his glass.
Yeah. Right, well, Elliott, we'll all have a guess and see what that is. It's normally Pepsi. It was Coke the last time. So, Thomas Cappleman, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right, thank you.
So, congratulations getting to the final. It's you're looking forward to playing Mr. Mellor?
Yep, never going to be an easy game, obviously, but it should be fun.
So, did Ruth give you any tips?
Well, she told me to avenge her. That was the tip.
Avenge me. That's what she said. Well, anyway, that's. I hope you all have a great game tonight. We're expecting a cracker, and we will come to Stephen Reid for some pre-match stats. Stephen, welcome back to ZoomDown.
Thanks for having me again. And as is tradition at this point, at the end of every series, I'm going to look at our two finalists and compare them. See if we can glean any insights into who's more likely to win.
Mm-hmm.
And this one's actually really evenly matched. Of the 6 games they both played, Elliott's got 6 wins, Tom has 5, but they've got very similar points totals. Elliott's on 747 points, Tom's on 733. And well, let's start with the numbers first of all, because I think that's the most impressive part. If you include previous appearances in Series 1, Series 2. Between them, Elliott and Tom have faced 76 numbers rounds. They've maxed 75 of them.
Whoa.
The only one they've missed was...
was me, Elliott, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was a nasty 6 small against Jonathan Rawlinson.
Is this including Numberists, etc., all that?
Not including Numberists.
No, right, okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't think hyper nasty is relevant to.
No, it's not. Yeah, when you said nasty, I thought you meant the nasty format, but just actually a nasty 6 small. Yeah.
How am I going to check what I look like?
Leslie.
Oh, Leslie.
Leslie, how are we doing?
Hello, I'm just in and trying to get in.
Yeah, we're seeing a photo from your holidays sometime.
Let's see. That should be it.
There we go.
Oh dear.
Hello.
How are you doing?
All right, I've just taught a class and been lying on the floor with some old ladies. Probably what Elliott was doing as well.
I don't know what you've heard about Mr. Mellor.
And then just walked home, so I'm a little bit sweaty, but good.
That's good. We're all the same, really. Look, you see these shirts, like, come on, we're all sweating as well. So don't worry.
Just to clarify, Paul, then it's nothing you should be concerned about engaging in.
Elliott's fascinated by extreme old age, Paul. You know, people who live to a grand old age, like well over 100.
Yeah, I can actually chime in and start here. Actually, that Poland's oldest person turns 115 today, so it's kind of coincided quite nicely.
That's heading for the upper limit, isn't it? Really? So
yeah.
Cool. So sorry, Stephen. Did we interrupt your flow there?
No, it's fine. So,
any more pre-match tape to give us?
So we talked about numbers. So you think they might be separated on letters?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They've both scored 479 points from letters rounds this series.
Wow.
Wow.
And while conundrums, it is a bit different. Elliott's got 4 out of 6. Tom's only got 2 out of 6, but they were in the quarterfinal and semi-final.
Right.
And if we're looking for nines, not only do they both have a healthy smattering of nines available in the games, they spot them. So Elliott spotted 6 out of 7 9-letter words. Tom's spotted all 8 that were available in his.
Oh. Very good.
So the only issue is that Elliott hasn't actually faced any crucial conundrums this series yet.
Right.
Tom's faced 4. 3 of them went unsolved, but it does imply that Tom's more used to the close game on ZoomDown, and if this one comes close, we'll have to wait and see what happens there.
Right, cool.
But either way, should be a good contest.
It's all set up, Stephen. Thank you very much. Excellent. Well done, Stephen. Very good. Hope everyone enjoyed that. I like a few stats. It's like the boxing, doesn't it? You want to see how long folks' arms are and things like that, you know? So what's the reach? How far do you have to stand back? So, Bradley, how are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Good. You ready for the game?
Yeah. It's very hard to call, so bring it on.
Right, well, we'll bring it on, I suppose. That's what we will do, if everyone is ready.
Yeah. Maybe before we start, we should see if we've had some people in chat saying Paul Zenon's a bit quiet. I don't know if anything can be done about that.
I can move nearer the microphone.
Could you? Yeah, maybe that. Yeah, maybe that's probably.
Shout.
Yeah, that's probably a little better actually. Yeah, that's cool. Right, well, if we are ready, how are the chat anyway? Have they been picking sides? I suppose we've got the Elliott Mellor fan club in, the Thomas Cappleman fan club in.
I've not seen the Stephen Grady fan club yet, though.
Adam Latchford, you mean, yes.
I think I saw something about relating to birthdays. Prince Philip would have been 100 today.
It would have been 100, yeah.
Missed it by a couple of months.
Yeah. So was it a couple of months ago? Wow, Jesus, time flies.
Getting a lot of questions in for
9th
Paul,
of
but
April.
I think we can save them for our chat later on.
All right, okay. George, just you keep us up to date with any goings on in the chat.
I was about to shamelessly ask him one of them, so good to hear we're saving it.
Right, yeah, we'll save it. Right, well, we'll get on with this game then, guys. So I'm looking forward to this. Let me get the board cleaned.
Good luck, Elliott.
Good luck, Tom.
Good luck, lads.
Yeah,
Very best of luck to the pair of you. I hope you have a stormer. So, Elliott Mellor, as our player 1, it is your prerogative. It's your letters. Take it away.
Let's start with 3 vowels and 3 consonants, please.
Okay. Okay, I hope we have no internet problems tonight. If we do, let me know as soon as you can if there's any low bandwidth. So, your vowels are I, E, and A, D, V, and F.
Another consonant.
Is a W.
A vowel.
Another I.
And a final vowel, please.
And the final U. And that's soon done. Elliott.
6.
Okay, and Tom?
6 as well.
Yours, please, out.
Waved.
Waved with the I. Tom?
And waved.
And waved. Not the easiest selection, Bradley.
No, but they got the only 6 there. There wasn't much to report.
No, there wasn't. So, okay. Nice 6 to start with. Points on the board. Settle you down. Six all. And Mr. Cappleman, here is your letters, please.
CV7, please.
Okay. ROG AR I and D
Val
is E.
And a consonant, please.
And the final S. And that's zoomed down. Mr. Cappleman.
9.
Okay. Elliott.
9.
Yours, please, Tom.
Rogersia.
Rogersia. And Elliott Rogersia too.
Yeah.
So I think you guys get one of these for that. Very well done. Double zoom down 9. Can't top that, Bradley.
Nope, that's very good.
Now, what does Rogersia mean for us plebs here?
Well, Rogers here does not mean when Federer enters the room.
It's a plant, is it?
Yeah.
Sounds
It
like
is, yeah. It is an Asian plant, sometimes cultivated for its attractive foliage.
Rogersia. Rogersia. Remember that one? Very, very good. And then 18 points up here. So, you can see the standard, Mr. Zenon, yes?
Indeed, I'm gonna have a drink and just forget about it all. Actually,
That's what I do. Why do you think I drink the wine? Why do you think?
I forgot my bottle opener though. I wonder if I can still do that thing I used to do.
Oh, the lighter. You know how to do the lighter. If you got a lighter, you can just do it. Anything, and what you do is you basically just get it and you prism it under your knuckles. You grab it, yeah, like that. Well done.
Cool.
Good man.
It needs a lighter when you have an eye, I guess.
Yeah. Can you not just magic it open, Paul? Could you not
Actually,
just?
it's a trick I picked up in Bangkok. That one. Cleaned it up a bit, obviously.
Right. We are round 3. Elliott, numbers, please.
1 large, please.
1 large. Okay. Your 5 smalls are 2, 6, and 5. 1, 8, and 75. And you target 3, 6, 7. So, Elliott, 3, 6, 7.
Yeah, just about.
And Tom?
Yeah, same.
Okay, your way, please, Al.
75 times 5 minus 6 minus 2.
Minus 6, minus 2, 3, 6, 7. And Tom?
75 times 5 minus 8.
Minus the 8, all right, just switch that and put the 8. Nice, easy warm-up for them there, Paul. No bother to these guys. They could.
The keyboard was for them.
They could do this. They could do that in their fingers. These guys. They could.
How many fingers do you think we have?
I don't know, but I bet you could. You could assign different powers to the fingers or something. I don't know.
Yeah, if you're counting binary,
Yeah.
say on off, you can go up to 1023.
Only 1023. You can't get
10 minus 1.
That's right. You need another digit then. Okay, well done. So. $34 points all. Was there an LNAFP solution, Bradley?
368.
368. Okay. LNAFP, Paul, is a phrase coined by Callum Todd. It's large numbers are for pussies. So it's basically if you get quite an easy sum, leave out the big one. See if you can do it without using the big one. So round 4, Mr. Cappleman.
CV7, please.
CV7, sure. GUP AD I and R
Consonant.
N
And vowel, please.
and a final O. 30 seconds. So, Tom.
8.
Okay, Elliot.
I'll stick on an 8.
Okay, yours please, Tom.
Rigordon.
Rigaudon or Rigadoon, whatever it is, yes. And Elliot?
Paguroid.
And Paguroid. So, Bradley. It's Rigadoon, isn't it? Is it a variant on Rigadoon, is that right?
It is, yeah. I think I'd say Rigaudon, but I could be wrong.
Rigaudon, okay. Doesn't give you any clues as to how it's pronounced. It's just a variant, isn't it? Doesn't?
Oh, yeah, it tells you how to pronounce Rigadoon, but not the alternate spelling.
Mm-hmm. And Paguroid, what does that mean?
That is relating to our characteristic of a hermit crab.
A hermit crab is Paguroid.
That's right.
Got its own word. Very good. Most people would have been on nice easy 7s, adoring and pouring and things like that, but well done, guys. 2 obscure 8s, well played. Nothing else to add in that one, Bradley, then?
No, they've covered both 8s there.
Cool.
Great job.
Well done, guys. 42 points all. As we go into round 5, Elliot.
3 and 3, please.
Okay. O, U, and A. S, R, and R.
Another consonant.
Is another R.
A vowel.
I.
And another vowel, please.
And a final E. 30 seconds. Elliot.
8.
Okay, Tom.
I'll stick with a 6.
Which is?
Errors.
Okay, you're 8, Elliot.
Arreros.
How are we spelling that?
ARRIEROS.
Arrieros, I would say. Arrieros, Bradley. Sounds Spanish to me.
Spanish is right, but it is in the English dictionary, so fantastic word.
Well played, Elliott. Very well played indeed. Arrieros. Do you have to roll the arrieros?
Probably.
What does it mean?
So it's a person who transports luggage or goods by the means of pack animals.
There's still plenty of work for them, is there?
Well, maybe in some less developed countries.
Yeah. In Spanish-speaking countries, right? Okay. Arrieros, very, very good indeed. Wow, well played. And we have a break in the scores.
Yeah, very good spot, Elliott.
Thank you, Tom.
Sorry, or for me, a few sevens, I suppose.
Yeah, the roarers and the rows are written down, but once Elliott's got an 8, it doesn't really matter.
No, it doesn't when he gets an 8.
Was you picking for that, Elliott?
Yeah.
Very good indeed.
Also.
And that's 50 points to 42 as we go into the second numbers game. Tom, your first numbers pick.
Let's go 4 large, please.
4 large. The big guns are coming out now. Here we go. Sleeves are rolled up.
The only tricks we normally see on ZoomDown are 4 large tricks.
4 large tricks, yeah, exactly. Now, your 2 smalls are not that small. They're 10 and 9. And then you have the 4 large. You have 50, 100, 75, and 25. And your target is 7, 4, 4. 30 seconds. 33 seconds. So, Tom.
Yep, 744.
Okay, Elliott.
Yeah, 744.
Go for it, Tom.
75 minus 50.
It's 25.
Times 25.
625.
Plus 100, plus 10, plus 9.
Plus 100, plus 10, plus 9. Gets you to 744. Very nice. Well done. Elliott.
750.
Say that again.
75 times 10 is 750.
Yeah.
And then 100 plus 50 divided by 25 for 6 and take it off.
That's 50 over 25 is 6 and take it off. 744. Very nice. Very good maths indeed. So very, very good indeed. So as we prepare to take a medium length break, the scores are 60 to 52. Which are big scores for round 6, aren't they, Brian?
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me if we get some sort of record.
Exactly, very big scores. So, Mr. Zenon, how are you at the numbers? How do you like the numbers on Countdown?
Slightly worse than I am at the letters, and I'm really bad at them.
What's your favourite numbers pick?
Yeah.
My favourite number?
Your favourite number selection?
Oh, what was the one that's named after a pussy?
Large.
One large.
That means you can use them all, but the large one. You see, yeah, you're not allowed. It makes it harder because you're not allowed to use the big 100 or the 75 or something like that. But it's so yeah. So if Rachel said to you, what Paul, it's your number is what you can have.
Well, as it's Rachel, one from the bottom.
At any other five, yeah, okay. So, tell me, how did you first get involved with magic? What was it? What age were you at, and when did you say that's for me? Magic's my career.
I think originally, when you were a kid in those days, certainly if you were a boy, every Christmas you either got a magic set or a chemistry set.
Yeah, I've had them both. I have had them both. Didn't like the chemistry set at all.
I don't know. I remember fusing my grandma's lights with some homemade flash powder that so I've always been in sort of both sides. I went on to study sciences for A level anyway.
Yeah.
I got the magic set, then I saw some TV program that I think it was a Magic Circle Christmas special, and so I dug out the Christmas set from the year before and had to play with that. But I used to go to Blackpool regularly. I was born kind of Yorkshire, Lancashire border, about 50 miles from there, and so we used to go for day trips or weekends. And I always used to love the joke shops, or the kind of gift shops that sold jokes and a few magic tricks and all the rest of it. So I ended up actually getting a job, as I mentioned before, on the North Pier in Paul Clive's magic shop one summer. And that was basically because it was a really busy day when I went in. And so they were busy selling all the joke stuff. But a guy wanted to see a magic trick demonstrated. I was too busy to show him, the guy behind the counter. So I said, precocious little son me. I said, I can do that trick. So he kind of bunged it on the counter. There's a trick with a kind of version, a 1 cup version of the cups and balls,
Mm-hmm.
Demonstrated that, and the guy bought it, and it was quite expensive. So as he left, the guy said, do you want a job? So I ended up parking our caravan in Blackpool for the season, and my gran stayed with me. I worked there all that year. But the following summer, actually the following Easter, I arrived in Blackpool thinking I'd do the same job again, and the shop had closed down.
Oh.
I was kind of feeling pretty dejected, but I was walking on the prom just by Central Pier, and I noticed there was a new magic shop, Joker magic shop called the House of Secrets. And it was kind of a tiny little place. And I remember even then thinking, who's this new pretender? I bet they don't do real magic stuff,
Mm-hmm.
And there was a kind of weird little shop with a mirror bowl and a kind of haze of joss stick and cigarette smoke and all the rest of it. And I saw the owner, a guy called Bill Thompson, do a magic trick. It was kind of a trick called the Svengali deck, a trick pack of cards. And I was mesmerised because I knew how the trick worked, but in his hands it was kind of real magic, I ended up kind of hanging out there, and it turns out his business partner had just pulled out of the enterprise, having just opened, because his wife wasn't happy about the hours, the kind of long hours in Blackpool. So he offered me the job that I didn't get at the other place, and I ended up working there for, I think, 4 summers, my whole school holiday.
What age are we talking here? What age were you at the time?
It was, when I did the Paul Clive season, I would have been 13, I think.
Wow. Oh. Yeah. You wouldn't be allowed to get those jobs probably now, would you? It'd be...
I was talking about this the other day and saying that, you used to work in the illuminations, you worked till kind of 10 or 11 at night,
Yeah.
My favourite part of the day was when all the crowds were kind of like milling about, all drunk and shouting nonsense. And we decided it was time to close up. When there was a little nightclub underneath the shop called the House of Secrets, called the Time Gap Discotheque. And when they started playing Tainted Love by Soft Cell, the 12-inch version, their opening track, that was time for us to pack up. So we kind of hoovered the floor, polished the cases, and then put a ladder across the door. And Bill would get £2 coins out the till, give them to me, and I'd go down into the nightclub and buy 2 half-pint barrel glasses of lager. When a 13 or 14-year-old, they won't give a second glance in Blackpool, Times a little bit, but yeah, heady days. So that's kind of how I got into it. Initially, it was just, Bill became my kind of mentor. I started doing shows in kind of guest houses and B&Bs, all that sort of stuff. And I ended up doing a tour with, I was into kind of rock music at that time. So I ended up doing a tour with a band called Hawkwind.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, and basically that's where the name Zenon comes from. Funny enough, because I went to see them at a show, and I put together this little act, which I'm glad there is no video recording.
I'm sure it was great.
In a fairly sparkly costume, even worse than no bow tie. It was, I kind of used their music for backing, and I told them this when I met them backstage, and they said, "Oh, come and do a few gigs with us." So I did, including Hammersmith Odeon when I was 17.
Wow.
Yeah, it was.
These are legendary places, aren't they? Like, musicians would bite your arm off for that, wouldn't they?
The funniest thing that happened there was on the stage of the Hammersmith Odeon. The idea was normally I'd go on with the band and they would do an instrumental and I'd do a kind of a trick to that. And incidentally, I'm back with them in August. I'm going to do some more gigs with them.
Cool.
They said for this gig we've got a few of the guests, so can you go on before us? So we've got this Spanish heavy metal band called Baron Rocco on before us. And then as they finish, you walk forward, the safety curtain will come down behind you. You know, they have this big metal iron safety curtain thing.
Yeah.
You do your bit for 10 minutes, and then as you finish, we'll reset for Hawkwind. The curtain goes back up, the dry ice rolls forward, and we go into it, which was great. Apart from, I kind of did, walked on, the curtain comes down behind me. I did my bit to my cassette backing, finished that, and the curtain didn't go back up. So I was basically sealed front to house, on the front of the stage with 5,000 stolen bikers and yippies.
There was no other way out. That was the only exit was behind you.
Yeah, there is no way out. That's the whole point of the safety curtain, is that it seals off the front.
Yeah.
That's an Eric Morecambe type thing, where I just kind of shrugged, picked up my pen, and jumped off the front of the stage and ran off up the aisle.
These are mad things to do for a very young fella, really, isn't it? To have that level of sort of attention. And how did it affect you? Did it go to your head, or mostly because it would go to most young fellas' heads?
No, it's more the backstage smoking that went to my head, to be honest. No, it was kind of, that was a kind of exception. The rest of the time I was doing everything from working men's clubs to kind of military tours and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I got my first TV gig when I was, in fact, before that was, I was 16, I think. And that was a Saturday morning ITV thing. It was only a kind of little guest spot on there. But that was quite exciting. I got the news that I'd got the gig and I'd auditioned, funny enough, at the old Granada Studios where we used to do Countdown. And I'd auditioned there. I got a message while I was in Blackpool, and I remember running down the prom and jumping up and punching the air like a little magical Billy Elliott,
Like Rocky, you mean, yeah, like Rocky.
It just carried on. So there wasn't a kind of instant thing where all of a sudden I made it, or it was
yeah.
But you had to do the real graft, everything from summer seasons, all the rest of it. But by I think 1990, I ended up back in Blackpool doing a summer season at the end of Central Pier. Funny enough, where it all started, That was those are the days we did 210 nights without a night off. That was pretty incredible.
You must get burned out after that then. I mean, that's, without a rest, that's crazy.
In some ways, because it's just kind of head down and do it. And because I knew people in Blackpool socially, it was pretty good.
Right.
Your gear and travel every day, because that's the real stressful bit, is the logistics, doing kind of, corporate one-night gigs. You might be kind of flying anywhere in Europe for it. You've got to, get all the attendant hassles of getting through customs. Not that we'll have that problem anymore. So actually to be resident somewhere for a while is a bit of a luxury in some way.
Yeah, I can understand that. And would you have much equipment, to carry around if you're traveling? Then it's packing up a whole van load or a lorry load, or what is it?
I've narrowed it down over the years. I've basically got a kind of pilot case, like a big briefcase. Otherwise, if it doesn't fit in that, it's not in the show,
Right, yeah, okay, yeah. You have to be able to walk with it, I suppose, yeah. But it's mad. Those were different times, and I suppose, when you think of magic, people still think of Paul Daniels in the UK, don't they? They still, because he was very, very famous, and he was all over the telly in those years, wasn't he? Was he an inspiration to you, or was he someone you wanted to be different from, or how did you approach him?
Both, in a way. I think because he became famous. He wasn't on TV until he was 39. I was a kid at that time, and when he first did TV, he was quite sharp because he'd just come through all the working men's clubs and all the rest of it, and kind of fine-tuned his act. And he was funny, it was unusual for a magician to be quite aggressive in style, We had David Nixon, who was kind of like your kind of nice uncle character, very gentlemanly,
Yeah.
For the first couple of years when he was doing TV, I kind of really rated Paul Daniels. But then I think he tried to go the Nixon route of becoming a nicer guy and doing less gags and all the rest of it. And I didn't sort of enjoy it quite as much. But particularly image-wise, because as you say, he was the only guy doing comedy magic after Tommy Cooper, really.
That's right. Yeah, he would have been. Yeah, he was just everywhere. He was on your screens all the time in those sort of mid-80s period, wasn't he? It was and all the Christmas albums. I'm sure. I mean, he must have made an absolute fortune with all the merchandising because his name was on everything.
Yeah, he did all the kind of magic sets and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah.
It was over 13 or 15 years at the BBC doing a show a week, at least, But I think I kind of was inspired by him, but equally because he was the only comedy magician that people knew. I as well. And so kind of the main difference was dressing differently at that time, you know. So by the time I started doing kids TV in the early 90s, it was kind of very typically this kind of shirt and all the rest of it, all bright colours and all that sort of stuff. But when I kind of more towards the mid 90s, I kind of sat down with a mate of mine and thought, right, what's corny, what's wrong with the image of Magic? You know, thinking about velvet bow ties, all that. And so we sat down and I kind of redesigned the image really. And at that time, black denim was in, so black jeans and a black t-shirt. I needed to wear a jacket because you needed pockets and sleeves for Magic, you know. But I wanted a leather jacket. I didn't want to do a biker's jacket because that was a bit kind of, you know, a bit twee. So I just kind of wore this box jacket, and that's where the whole street Magic image kind of started for me, at least, you know. So on the back of that, I did a show at Edinburgh Fringe. I'm trying to remember what it was called now. Turning Tricks, Paul Zenon Turning Tricks. And
nice, good name.
All the props I used were everyday street items, you know, so there was nothing, there were no glitzy boxes and magic wands and all that kind of stuff. So it was a question of kind of living up to the image. I created this image as sort of a bit of a slightly dodgy, a con man with a decent heart, you know.
More of a bad boy magician or something, I suppose. I would always look at you that way.
Arthur Daly sort of thing, or you know, his character, Dennis Walkman's character in that, you know. So,
yeah, exactly. You have a bit of street cred about you, yeah, exactly. Whereas Paul Daniels said sort of none, like, you know, he's not that sort at all.
Yeah, you know, he's great for his time, but everything kind of moves on a bit, you know. And so from that, I ended up doing that season in Edinburgh Fringe. I ended up getting a pilot, which was the same series that Peter Kay first started with. It was a thing called Comedy Lab. And we used to do a special, and on the back of that, of the pilot, about 3 months later, got off my own 1 hour special on Channel 4 and did another 2 or 3 after that, you know. So that was the whole street magic kind of period. But it kind of, it goes through phases, you know. I kind of, I've now got to the age where I look faintly ridiculous wearing a kind of leather jacket and pretending to be streetwise, you know. So we kind of get through a different phase now. So I'm not sure what it's going to be next.
And how is the environment? I suppose, I mean, COVID's changed the world, really, hasn't it? And I mean, I'm sure a lot of people that you would know in the entertainment business have been struggling for gigs and things like that over this past while. So how is the market?
It's dead. I mean, the biggest employer of magicians for the past kind of maybe 10 or 15 years has kind of moved from the corporate market and the cruise ship market and all the rest of it to doing weddings, believe it or not. And it's all on the back of the street magic thing because it's all close-up magic. Ideally a table at a wedding, you know, small groups of people. So, I mean, there are more professional magicians than ever before in the UK, and they're mostly doing that scene. But
so they're working the tables at dinner kind of thing, that they're going around the tables, are they? That type of thing?
It's an icebreaker between the different sides of the
yeah.
The problem was obviously the COVID's affected that, but that's now starting to come back a little bit. People are kind of the problem is with it is that quite often you kind of handing over objects. You get someone to pick a card, or you.
That's right.
I'm going to be comfortable with that for quite a while, I don't think. So it's kind of still dead in the water, you know. And I tend to specialise in stage shows. And there's just kind of nothing happening that way apart from the big musicals, you know.
Yeah.
The comedy clubs have gone under just because they didn't have the finance to carry through, you know.
Yeah, because you would have needed a big bank balance to just get you through this last couple of years, wouldn't you? Really. So it's, and I mean, like I say, I'm a musician. I love singing, and it seems that's going to be the one of the very last things, is that sort of interpersonal, people making a load of noise up close. I mean, it's hard to see our way back for any of that, really, isn't it? That intimacy that we once knew.
I know a lot of people, a lot of performers have started doing Zoom shows, you know, but it's just for me, it's not for me, because I mean, I'm kind of relying on a lot of reactions of humour, you know. You're not going to hear, no matter how many faces you see on the screen smiling, you're not going to hear more than one person laughing at once, you know.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, on Zoom, yeah, the audio algorithm wouldn't let you really, it's just one at a time, isn't it? So it's kind
of difficult, so it's that medium's not for me, you know, so maybe a bit of a dinosaur, but I'm not sure what. I do a bit of acting as well, and I think that'll come back, you know, quite healthily in a short.
What's your one day? Well, you see these celebrity, well, I call them celebrities, like the likes of Razor Ruddock, you know, with all those greetings. It seems a lot of them have just got into that business now of wishing people a happy birthday and things like that, personalized greetings.
I must admit, I've been asked to do that, and I haven't got around to doing my little intro profile video yet. I just can't. I'm just not particularly comfortable.
Decent money. It seems to be decent money, and those guys are making a fortune doing it, aren't they? But they must spend all day, every day doing it. Like, get up in the morning and just record greetings for randomers.
I think you can choose the time slot to do it, how long you do, and all that kind of thing. So, but I don't know. It smacks a little bit of desperation to me. But having said that, having not had any help from the government, along with 3 million other freelancers, needs must sometimes,
I think it's something Magic could, if someone else was filming it could work quite well. I think getting a little sort of personalised trick or something like that, I think that could work better than just a greeting from Razor Ruddock.
I did actually have the idea of doing playing on the word card, doing a card trick, but doing a birthday card trick or a Christmas card trick or whatever.
Yeah.
It's interactive as well, which obviously it isn't with the other stuff. If it's just a pre-recorded message, you don't have that same interaction,
Yeah, no, I get you, but I can see it working. It's something visual, I think, rather than just a sort of cursory message. I mean, I imagine he's not putting much thought into it. Just what's the name here? Read the name out. Yeah, happy birthday here, and give it a little bit of this and all that.
I'm not saying I'd put any more effort into it, to be honest.
So tell me, Magic has always been your love, but what else rocks your boat?
I think it's actually not particularly just Magic, but kind of, comedy was my sort of first love before Magic. So I've always tried to combine the two, not the TV stuff, because the TV commissions were very much, they wanted a Magic show. Doing shows live, it's a lot more, it's a mix of stand-up and tricks and whatever, So I kind of like any sort of performance thing. And I haven't actually...
Have you done straight stand-up before?
Not really. I've kind of hosted corporate events where I'm just not doing any tricks. I'm just kind of hosting it. But even after all these years, I haven't had the bottle to go out and do 20 minutes just without any tricks.
It takes balls, that, doesn't it, really?
And also, because if anybody knows me at all, they know me for the Magic side. And so if I didn't do any, it kind of looks a bit odd. I've kind of done acting roles where I haven't done any Magic. I did a couple of Shakespeare things a few years ago, and that was the scariest thing I've ever done. One of them was The Merry Wives of Windsor, which is kind of fun because I was playing a drunk petty criminal, so it's kind of method acting. So that was it. But that was because it's a comedy. If you mess something up, there's a kind of way around it. You can kind of ad-lib your way out to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But then I did. I'm going to say it. I did Macbeth.
The Scottish play, yes.
Yeah, and I was playing 3 little roles in it. I was playing kind of Lennox, a witch, and an assassin, a murderer. And that was terrifying to do because everybody knows the script better than you. The audience know it. And there's no room for ad-libbing, and there's no humour in it apart from the Porter character, for a short bit. So I was actually really more nervous about that than anything I've ever done. But therefore, outside the comfort zone, it was a lot more satisfying than most things I've done.
It's a challenge. I think you get more of a buzz out of when you step outside your comfort zone too, and you're doing something where you could fall completely flat on your face, and you've got it's not your audience. It's a different crowd. I think there's merit in those things. I like challenges, but I'm interested into how you got into the countdown. What was that? Was that just through TV, or were you always a countdown fan?
It was oddly enough in a comedy club at Shepherd's Bush, just near the old BBC TV centre.
Yeah.
And I was just doing a comedy club night. It was kind of a couple of women ran this club who I'd done probably half a dozen shows for before, and it was one that I'd do maybe once a year. It wasn't a regular thing, I was usually doing store or jonglers or that sort of stuff. And after the gig, someone came backstage, this guy, and he said, just wanted you to know, my girlfriend thinks you're really good. She works on Countdown, but she's a bit drunk and a bit embarrassed to come up and say her fault. She wants to know if you might be interested in being on the program. And so I thought he was winding me up. But, my girlfriend is and all the rest of it. I thought, I had no email address or a number, whichever it was at the time. And sure enough, got a call a couple of days later asking if I'd like to be on it. So it was just out the blue entirely, And it's been an interesting one. It's been really enjoyable. I think 2004, we were saying earlier, was the first time I was on it.
And that was Richard Whiteley and Carol back in those days.
I've been through all the presenters in a manner of speaking. I should rephrase it. But it was. It's quite interesting from a magician's point of view doing it because because the cameras are quite a long way away, so you can't really do anything on the tabletop where they look down on it. Also, the audience are kind of way off to one side, so they're generally, seeing the close-up small stuff on a monitor, if at all. The presenters off kind of this way, and Susie and Rachel are that way. So you're actually working magic-wise to a blank wall, really.
Just two cameras kind of thing. You've just got sort of two cameras in front of you there. That's it.
In terms of coming up with the quantity of material that fits the kind of time slot for it, and not too repetitive. You can't repeat things too often on there. Probably things that might harm kids if they try it themselves. And there's a lot of sorts of bits. So, but therefore, have a good discipline, so it kind of makes you creative. It's also the sort of tricks I normally do on stage don't really work sat behind a desk. So I can't use my regular material. So again, it's slightly outside the comfort zone in terms of coming up with a quantity of material, really.
Did you find any difference? Something that has been a sort of bone of contention here is there's talk now of getting rid of countdown audiences altogether. I think a lot of TV companies have realized that they can do it without audiences. Yeah, and it's maybe pushing them into that. So what do you think of that? How do you find it was different without the audience than with the audience?
It's definitely harder for me in terms of the performance thing, but obviously the rest of the people there are really helpful in terms of reacting. So Susie and Rachel and the contestants or the crew themselves. So you do get a reaction, but you can't really play it as a crowd as you normally would. So I'm guessing it'll be even less fun.
I thought you came across very well. I thought you were perfect for that when there was no crowd. I thought it was good because I saw, who was it, Richard Digance. I thought he sort of felt a bit flat in his face, really, without that feedback from the crowd.
It is unusual, yeah. I mean, when you're not used to doing that.
Yeah, he's so used to getting that immediate feedback for years and years and years. I mean, he's getting on a bit. He's been doing it a long time, hasn't he? So it's.
A lot of people who are, used to presenting without an audience, but still doing kind of gag lines, the rest of it. So they kind of, sail through it. But those of us who are generally only work in front of a live audience, all of a sudden something's very missing, So like I was saying with the Zoom situation, but you adapt. You've got to. It's kind of. I think that's the pros and cons of the COVID thing. We've proved that we can do it without an audience, but therefore we'll probably have to carry on doing it without an audience. It's kind of. But let's say, so there's a lot of magicians in particular, of musicians doing Zoom shows. I don't think any of them are enjoying it as much as they do.
No, definitely no. It's not. You can't jam as well. I mean, music's all about interacting with other musicians, and it's impossible to do that over the internet. The technology doesn't exist yet. But yeah, it's just getting those days back and the human contact. Hopefully, I mean, we can all get double vaccinated and it'll all be fine. Maybe we can get back to those days where you can shake someone's hand again.
Yeah, I went to the pub, for the first time for a while. And all of a sudden you realise people have got a back to their head. It's just they've got legs. It's amazing. You kind of think you get used to kind of having a drink on your own at home or whatever, and think it's not much different. But then you go back to a pub, and even if there's nothing happening, you might still be on your own, but there's people passing the rest of it. There's just atmosphere. That's what we're missing. Is actual atmosphere.
I've got Russ Albert's atmosphere in my head now, you know that.
I've got a question, if I can just interject.
Go on, Elliot. Yeah.
When you're doing like a magic trick, if you really badly screw it up, like what do you think and do at that point?
If I'm on stage with a microphone, I move slightly away from the microphone and swear under my breath. I think just through doing lots and lots of live stuff, you get kind of a sort of a repertoire, an arsenal of tricks that you fairly, you're bulletproof with generally. It's the stuff that you don't mess up. But then if you do, because you've done it so many times, chances are you've messed it up in the early days anyway. So you've kind of got some kind of get out. And that's the great thing, like I say, about doing kind of the comedy thing. If you mess up, it becomes a Tommy Cooper trick. It's not that. It's not the end of the world. But the main thing is learning. It sounds counterintuitive, but you learn ad libs. So when you have a situation, something goes wrong, you might say something spontaneous, and people laugh at it. So you remember that for next time. So the next time it sounds like an ad lib, but it's actually a remembered and rehearsed one that you've done before. But when I used to do the acts when I was with Hawkwind and whatever, the act was just a music, and so if you messed up or whatever, you couldn't actually say anything to cover it. I remember doing a thing where I had a floating silver ball. It was like a giant Christmas decoration thing. I was doing this whole mime thing, and then it was floating around the stage, and all of a sudden it was made out of really thin plastic. All of a sudden the mechanism, shall we say, went wrong, and it just dropped to the stage and smashed. At this point, I knew I had like 3 or 4 minutes of music left to film. I kind of just gathered up the bits in the palm of my hand and kind of carried on doing a mime thing with that. It was just kind of cringe when you think about it. But I think anything that will go wrong, can go wrong, will go wrong. And so you need to be able to kind of, at the back of your mind, you've always got, what will I do if that happens?
Yeah, and as you say, it usually has gone wrong before, so you know what to do. Yeah, it's no, it's the same with us. We're live. You sort of know. Yeah, if you mess up, you roll with it. That's all you can do. You can't just sort of be awkward and freeze and stop your performance. I suppose you have to just keep going, don't you?
That's right. And I think being British, we've got a kind of quite a self-deprecating sense of humour anyway. If you imagine an American magician, David Copperfield did something and it went wrong, he'd probably have a hissy fit and walk off stage crying. You get that impression. In the UK, people are quite happy to, sort of do themselves down. I messed up, so let's have a laugh about it. It happens.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, George, do we have any questions from the chat?
We have a few, yeah. We've been asked to ask all about the galleon. What's the galleon, Paul?
That's someone from Blackpool.
The galleon.
The galleon was it still is a bar there, but it's a different place, different ownership. It was a late night showbiz bar in a basement. And I'm not sure if I should say this actually. Yeah, well.
Go on, it's 9 o'clock. Come on.
It was there was a duo in there playing kind of jazz and all the rest of it. Who they were probably in their 60s at the time, and I was kind of my late teen, early 20s or whatever. And I can't remember what they were called, but the drummer had one eye. And he was called Schultz. Remember that? And the bar was it was full of characters as Blackpool is in general. But I remember it had these portholes in the wall, and it had different kind of models in each one. So there'd be like a Spanish Armada galleon in one, and then the next one it'd be a World War II destroyer. So it kind of quite tacky place, but it was just a great place where all the people in the shows used to gather after hours, late at night. But I had an experience there, which is the only time I'm going to admit to taking drugs, but nothing too serious. It was someone gave me some magic mushrooms, and I was in the galleon.
What do you give a magician? You give him magic mushrooms, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, and it was one of those things. It was egged on by a few friends, and but we didn't think they were having any effect. But then all of a sudden, the galleon started moving. The problem was, it was kind of quite an enjoyable sensation, but every time I stood up to go at the bar or the toilet, it stopped at whatever angle it was at. It was almost level and then jumped up at that point. And then when I got to the bar, I put my glass on the bar, but I had to keep hold of it because I couldn't believe it wasn't sliding. It's my overriding memory of the galleon bar in Blackpool. But there is now one, I don't know what the connection is, if anything, but there's another bar open called the Galleon, which is kind of a different place. The old place was demolished. Probably by popular demand locally.
and all the memories with it, yes. That's good. That's interesting. Any others, George?
Let me get to my list. What about the time you stayed in a Manchester hotel and they threw all your receipts away during a bedroom turnover?
I know who's sending that one.
These Damien questions, are they? Yes.
Oh, of course they're Damien's questions. Who else would it be?
Yeah. I was doing countdown, staying in the I think it was the Midland. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say that, but yeah, I kind of stayed there for a couple of nights, and I got back. I'd left. Obviously, my things looked like rubbish because I basically left a load of stuff in the room, and it had been cleared out and thrown away. Part of which was my entire year's receipts, because I was about to do my my tax and the rest of it. So, but yeah, there were a few old books and a couple of items of clothing and whatever. But it was it was one of those. And you think, how badly dressed am I that they think what I've left behind is because I'm binning it,
So that must have cost you a few quid. That was all your receipts to claim back expenses and things like that. That must have cost a bit then.
By the tax people, because it's almost literally dog ate my homework, isn't it?
Yeah, they don't care, really, do they? Don't care about excuses, really. It's October 1st or whatever the date is now. Yeah, they want to know. So, any other sensible questions, George?
Other than ones that have already naturally been answered, who's your favourite countdown host, having seen all of them during your time on the show?
That's a kind of
a big one.
A bit unfair to say, in case any of.
No, they're all great, but you must have a favourite. Surely, we all have favourites.
I think it's split between two, actually. I think it would be. Having said that, I've forgotten the first one's name.
Richard, Des.
Des. Which Des, though? Could you guess?
Is it Des? Hi, Des here.
Oh, sorry?
Is it Des Lynam? Or is it Des O'Connor?
No, it was neither. It was
neither. It wasn't Des.
No, one of them was Nick, who... Actually, strangely enough, it was the ones that I didn't think I would particularly get along with well beforehand. I thought I would get on really well with Des O'Connor because he's got similar background, variety, entertainment. Yeah. But it didn't sort of quite click. I mean, we didn't not get on, but there wasn't that sort of same chemistry there. But Nick had, funny enough, I'd done a corporate show with him in Brighton where I live. I think it was about 6 months before he started on there. So we'd actually sat together in a green room backstage for a couple of hours, and we'd already met. So then when I was on his first episode, his first recording block, so we kind of, we had a good time and always got on,
He was Nick from The Apprentice at that stage, wasn't he?
Yeah. And then the other one was Jeff Stelling, oddly enough. Because Jeff, again, I didn't think we particularly clicked just because the sort of background of him being into sport. I'm really not into sports at all. It's not my thing. Somehow we just got on well, and I used to involve him in tricks quite a lot. In the routines, and he always played along really well. Because that's the thing. Some people like to be the centre of attention and in charge, and some people like to kind of just they're not frightened of looking a bit sort of silly or whatever. And he was great playing along with things.
That's a good question, George. We like that one. So, well, I think that was brilliant, Paul. That's a great bit of your history there. We love that. Sorry, someone going to say something? No, I thought I heard someone interjecting. But that's great, and it's mad that you started so young. I didn't imagine you would have started when you were 13. That's Did you finished your schooling and all that now? You didn't skip school to do the magic or anything like that?
What happened was I actually started doing magic when I was about 10. But yeah, I kind of got the first job in the shop when I was 13. But what used to happen when I was working in the House of Secrets, it was when we got to the end of the main season, like I said, I stayed in a caravan, with my grand for 10 weeks in the summer. For the illuminations, it kind of used to run, I think it was first week of September through till first week of November, something like that. Which kind of led to the season, but it was quiet during the week then, but really busy at weekends. I mean, you get 1 million people in Blackpool on a Saturday in the illumination.
I've been, yeah. It's a good place. Like it is. It's a great place.
Yeah, and it's so I used to actually hitchhike across on Saturday morning, 50 miles. I'd set off early in the morning. I'd get there probably late morning, midday usually. I mean, it's the time back then you could actually hitchhike, and it was a pretty reliable form of transport, really. But I'd work there till 11 o'clock at night on the Saturday until about maybe 6 in the evening Sunday, and then get a National Express coach back and go back to school on the Monday morning. But it was very much an apprenticeship, really. So yeah, that kind of that's
and a few quid in your pocket as well, a bit of pocket money as well, more than your friends had, I would imagine.
It was well paid, It was,
you were doing an adult's job, really, weren't you? So
certainly hours wise, I was, yeah. Also, I was always fascinated, as well as the magic. I always used to get the American comics, the Marvel and DC comics, and it was always the adverts in the back that fascinated me. So it was the practical joke stuff, and there was all the 7-foot monster ghosts and things, and it was all stuff that you couldn't send off for because it was in American currency. You had to, how do you write a check to America? So I used to wait till I went to Blackpool to see this stuff in the joke shops. So I kind of always combine those two things. I think that's where the comedy and the magic sort of came, the joke shop that sold tricks, basically. So I ended up actually doing a show. I wrote it was more a kind of theatre piece, like an acting thing, called Linking Rings. And it's the story, it was going to be a story about Houdini and his right-hand man. So I've got a bit of a fascination with the history.
I know you're a mad Houdini fan, yes.
Yeah, so I started writing a thing where I was playing his right-hand man. His right-hand man was a guy called Jim Collins. And my original family name is Collins, so I was kind of interested from that point.
Interesting, yes.
And while I was writing this, Paul, my kind of mentor from the House of Secrets, he became ill, and I ended up, just after I'd written a scene which is about Jim Collins packing down all the equipment for the last time, just after Houdini died backstage, and I ended up having to pack down Bill's magic studio when he died, together with a few friends. I realised it was kind of life imitating art or vice versa.
Very poignant, yeah.
So the show ended up being about that. My girlfriend at the time sort of said, actually, that's the strongest storyline. And so I wrote this thing called Linking Rings. This was about 7 years ago, something like that. And that was the first time I'd done a straight theatre piece, so there was a few gags in it, but it was the first time I've ever been on stage where people crying in the audience was a good thing,
Yeah, it's not your fault. Yeah, you didn't hurt them.
Turning point for me, because that was really outside my comfort zone, talking about something that was very personal and all the rest of it,
You sound like a brave man. You're not afraid to step outside that comfort zone then.
I think I certainly used to be. I think I just had that bravado of youth, but I think you get to a point where, you kind of want to start. I didn't get bored with the magic thing altogether, but I'd just done the same thing for a lot of years,
Yeah.
So I wanted to do something different and a bit more of a challenge, and it turned out to be this particular thing. So I think, if I do something else of a similar vein, or if the comedy magic live thing doesn't come back to any extent, I'll probably do another Edinburgh show or a film show of that sort of type,
Cool. Well, we look forward to hear it. So I wanted to ask you, George. George said you went to his school. Is that right? Is it your school, George? You're in.
Yeah, we're up in Skipton. It's a small world, really.
Well, I mean, do you expect Paul to know what school George went to?
Without telling him exactly.
Yeah. No, I was hoping George was going to say. So Skipton, was it? And Mouse went there as well. So it's a.
No, I didn't.
Mouse's brother went there.
It wasn't an art school though, was it?
Oh, I just saw on my school's Wikipedia page that it says that you went there.
What, Ermisted's?
Exactly. Yes, Ermisted's.
It was. Yeah, Ermisted's Grammar School. Yes, founded in 1492 and still had the same teachers when I was there.
1492. That's wow.
Around the same time as Columbus.
Yeah, same age as Columbus. That. So.
Yeah, but yeah, God, I'm having flashbacks now.
You're having flashbacks.
Everyone does with their school days. Everyone does.
That's where actually the science thing, we're talking about the chemistry sets and all the rest of it. I ended up in kind of A-level sciences there, and the stuff we used to get away with, we used to blow up these, the old Belfast sinks. We used to shove a bit of lump of potassium in there and then leave the tap dripping, and it'd fill with hydrogen and then ignite and blow chunks out of it, Or you'd have
those are highly prized. Those sinks, aren't they?
Absolutely, yeah. You get those. You get the gas taps, and you just light a tiny little flame like a candle flame, and then you'd warm up water in a glass pipette till it was boiling, and then squirt it down the glass, and you get this row of people all just going.
I can see why the magic appeals. I can see that. Yeah, the playing tricks on people. I can do that. Paul, that was fascinating. Thank you very, very, very much indeed. That's great insight into your career. So thank you very much indeed. That was very, very good. So will we crack on with this game, guys? 8 points in it. Round 7.
Yeah.
Been a while.
Yeah.
This is the thing about a final. Normally, Paul, we'd sort of take like a 10-minute gap, really, whatever. In a final, we take a good sort of half an hour, and that's what's good. But it's maybe for the players, it's kind of they get a little bit cold again, so we want to get them warmed back up. So Let's get logged back in. So how are the chat, George? How are they reacting to all that?
Yeah, they absolutely loved it. Were you expecting anything different?
No, I wasn't. No, just I'm blissfully unaware that I can't keep an eye on the chat. That's something I don't see normally till the morning after. So we are an 8-point game, and it's Mr. Mellor. Round 7. Your letters, please.
3 and 3, please.
Okay. It's hard to remember what your traditional selection was. You're like, oh yeah, countdown. What was it? What did I used to do?
Yeah.
So they are I, E, and O. M, D, N.
Another consonant.
Young girls just saying that they'd love to come back but can't commit, so I guess we're going to want to just come dipping in and out.
Hi, Leslie.
I'll mute you, Leslie. It's all right.
A vowel.
A vowel is an E.
And the final vowel.
Okay, and the final U, and that's ZoomDown. So, Elliott.
8.
8, and Tom?
8 as well.
Yours, please, Al.
Demonize.
Demonize, and Tom?
And demonize.
Demonize, good. Glad you haven't forgotten how to play the game. That's good. Good solid 8s there, Bradley.
Yep. One of the 2 8s there. The other 8 being Dominies.
Dominies. So that's someone who's dominated.
I think so.
Okay. We'll leave that conversation there. Fill in the blanks yourself. Okay, so that's 68 to 60. And it's round 8. Tom.
CV7, please.
CV7, sure. T, E, and Q. O, L, O, and N.
Consonant.
F.
And a consonant, please.
And the final C, and that's ZoomDown. Tom.
6.
Okay, Elliott.
6.
Yours, please, Tom.
Futile.
Futile. And Elliott.
Ocelot.
And Ocelot. Futile and Ocelot, Bradley. Looks like there's longer in there, doesn't there? Just 6.
Well, yeah, they're making my job redundant tonight because they're covering everything.
That's the final, Paul. Yeah, normally we'd have words that sort of beat our players, but no, when it comes to the final, these guys seem to know them all, don't they?
I may as well just be here to say yes.
Yes. Yes, those are the words. Those are the best words you could have had in that round. So Ocelot and
Paul's got one.
Go on, Paul.
Teflon work for 6. Was it a brand name?
Must be a brand name.
Teflon.
Teflon,
Yeah.
Probably capitalized. Yeah, probably. It'll be in eventually, but maybe not.
It is in the dictionary, but it is capitalized.
It is capitalized. Yeah. So unlucky, not an easy selection that. So, but well done, guys, to get the 6s. So the scores 74 to 66. And it's round 9 is Elliott. Your next numbers, please.
One large, please.
One large. Your 5 smalls are 9, 2, and 10. 7, 3, and your large one is 100. And you target. Darts, 501. Elliott, 501.
Yeah, 501.
And Tom?
501.
Hey, Elliott, your way, please.
100 times 10.
Is 1,000.
Plus 9 minus 7. Or 1002.
1,002.
And divide by 2.
Divide by 2. Very nice indeed. Very nice. Tom?
I voted for 100. 10 minus 2 is 8.
10 minus 2 is 8, yeah.
Times the 7 and the 9.
Times the 7 and the 9 is 504.
And subtract for 3.
Nice method, Tom.
3, yeah. That's one of Paul. That's one of the old countdown numeral tricks. If you ever know, 8. If you're looking for something in the 500s, 8 times 7 times 9 is 504. It gets you close enough to where you're going. So it's a useful little trick, that one. So you see Elliott showing off there because it's quite an easy sum. So sometimes people would try and see, can you get the LNAFP? But I'm not sure it's. Oh well, it is. Tom did an LNAFP.
Yeah, Tom did.
That's what Tom did. So yeah, without using the 100, to try and get the thing. So well done. No extra points, but you get style points, I suppose. Well done, guys. 10 points each.
That's one off the bingo card anyway. Paul asking if there's an LNAFP when one of the contestants has done it.
I know, really is. I've so many other jobs to do, Bradley. See, that's the thing. It's hard keeping it all together. 84 to 76. And starting the round with a round of applause. That's usually what I've done as well. I've done that. That's on the bingo. That's definitely on the bingo. Love a game of bingo. I saw something on my Facebook the other night. Somebody who you wouldn't think played bingo was going, "Woohoo! The bingo's back!" What? It's like I had no idea you were into bingo, but I didn't unfriend them or anything. So round 10 is Mr. Cappleman. Your letters, please.
CP7, please.
CV7. CEM. OP E. Sorry. Try that again. And N.
Consonant.
S.
Consonant, please.
And a final T, and that's zoomed down. Tom.
8.
Okay, and Elliott?
8.
Yours, please, Tom.
Competes.
Competes, yes.
Yeah, exactly the same.
Compete. These two know how to compete, Bradley. They sure do.
Certainly. Mm-hmm. It's nice of them to leave me one to offer as well.
Potencies.
Well, they didn't leave it for you, did he? That's 8 off Elliott Mellor. That's potencies, Bradley. Potencies. Potences, pluralized.
Yep, you can add the S on it. Interestingly.
Yeah. The old mass noun debate.
I thought I saw compense, but that's not a word.
It's not.
Only compensate.
Yeah. Okay, well, they're hoovering them all up tonight, so another 8 is 92 to 84. And it's round 11. Elliott Mellor's letters, please.
3 and 3, please.
There we go. So they are E, I, and I. D, E, and R.
And another consonant.
Z.
Another vowel.
U.
And another vowel, please.
And the final A. And that's ZoomDown. Elliott.
7.
Okay, and Thomas?
7 as well.
Yours, please, Al.
Deutzia.
Deutzia. Okay, and Tom?
As you're right.
And as you're right, as I'm right. Bradley?
Both good.
Both good.
Both sevens.
Diarize, I'll offer a word because no one's really offering any words with these two because they're hoovering them all up. So, diarize.
And Ditzia.
Yeah.
And Ditzia, yeah, good Fiona, nice one.
Again, nothing to add. I'll cover it.
So Ditzy is D-I-T-Z-I, D-I-T-Z-Y. Yeah, I would always put it with an S. So it's a word I've never had to write down, I suppose. So. Just the Z then, not the S.
It wouldn't be in with the S.
No.
Oh no, it is valid with both.
Is it?
Ditzy is in with both, yeah.
Oh. It looked weird to me when I saw it with the Z. I thought, ooh, that's a bit weird. Like Ritzier, yeah. I suppose it's after Ritzier, is it that kind of maybe? Any mention of that?
It just says origins unknown.
Origins unknown. But yeah, I'm right, George. But yeah, I'm right. Okay. Well done. 7s. And that is both of you into the 90s now. 99 to 91. So, I think we're odds on, Bradley, for a double century tonight, aren't we?
Wouldn't bet against it.
Wouldn't bet against this. Round 12. No pressure, lads. Round 12. Tom, your letters, please.
Final 7, please.
Okay. L-E-S A-N E and D.
Consonant.
B.
And a consonant, please.
And the final M, and that's ZoomDown. Tom.
8.
Okay, Elliott.
8.
Yours, please, Tom.
Sendable.
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 Sendable. How would you use sendable?
A parcel is sendable, I guess.
Okay. So it was the right size to be sent. So an elephant is unsendable.
Possibly.
Sendable.
Yeah. Elliott's other 8 I saw there, mendable, is also good.
Mendable. No mendables?
No. Okay, you can't put the S on it.
That's okay. Well, that repair shop would say differently. They bring in your mendables.
The chat were trying bladesman as well.
I had it written down.
Bladesmen, what are they? What would they be?
Beadsman is in, isn't it? Beadsman.
Yeah.
He's doing your job for you tonight, Bradley.
A pensioner provided for by a benefactor in return of prayers.
A pensioner provided in return for prayers. Beadsmen. Oh, like rosary beads. I'm assuming. Rosary beads.
The other one was Beldames.
That was your one. Very nice.
Which, as far as Elliot didn't get, it's an old woman.
Beldames, like, is that like belle as in pretty? From Beldames?
Yeah, it is. Beautiful.
Beautiful,
From
beautiful old ladies. Beldames, okay. Not done. Okay, so that was an 8. It's 107 to 99. And we have final letters. Elliot.
3 consonants, please.
3 consonants, okay. B, T, and N.
Another consonant.
Is an L.
3 vowels.
O, U, and E.
Another vowel.
Is an I.
And another vowel, please.
And the final A. 30 seconds. Elliot.
8.
Okay, and Tom?
8 as well.
Yours, please, Al.
Unitable.
Unitable. Tom?
Ablution.
Ablution. Perform your ablutions. Very good, Bradley. Top standard, isn't it?
It really is. Two of the 3 8s covered there.
You hardly even have to check the dictionary, really, do you? You just say, okay, yeah.
Not really, but I will give you the one they've not mentioned, which is
Butilon.
Butilon.
He did. He just mentioned it.
Shut up.
Every round.
Can you imagine not having a job on this Zoom call?
He's auditioning for Series 4, that's what it is.
Oh, this is the equivalent of someone else pulling that rabbit out of the hat. You're like just about to do it, and your assistant pulls it out.
Go on, define it then, if you're so good.
A butylon.
I haven't a clue, to be honest.
Oh, that's where I come in. It's a herbaceous plant or shrub of warm climates. Quite a colourful one.
A butylon from Indian mallow. Very good. Well, very, very, very good. And another 8. Yes, another 8. Been quite a lot of 8s in this round. This game. We got a tally on how many 8s there've been. It's been a lot.
We've had
6.
I got 7. I hold the countdown record for 7, so you can't. So 115 to 107. And we're done with the letters. We have 2 rounds left. It is Thomas. Your numbers, please.
Let's go out well. Let's stick with 4 large.
4 large. Here we go. Your 2 smalls this time are 7 and 2. And you know your 4 larges are 25, 100, 75 and 50 is the order that they came out. New target. 1, 4, 6. So, Tom, 146.
146.
Elliot, 146.
Yep, 146.
Cool, going for it, Tom.
Didn't matter what the smalls were. 50 times 75.
50 times 75.
Minus 100.
50. It's 3650.
And divide by 25.
And divide by 25. I'm going to take your word for it. That is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very well done. And Elliot went the same way. All these fancy ways.
Love a good SNAFP.
Yeah. Exactly. Very good indeed. Well done, lads. Very well done. And you know what this means? If we had it scripted, would have been what we would have chosen. So 125 to 117. Cracker by anyone's standards. And we have a crucial conundrum. So,
Best of luck.
Bradley,
Good luck.
benefit of any
Good luck, Tom.
maybe talk through how we do this. So I'm going to switch off and write the conundrum on the board.
Certainly. Well, I don't think our contestants need any more information, but just say a buzz when you have the answer. Nice and clear, nice and fast as well, given it's the final. Can't have any fudges. But good luck, both.
Yeah, good luck, Tom.
Good luck.
Best luck, guys.
Very, very best of luck, guys. This is the culmination of a wonderful series. So I'm a very proud host, as I say. Very, very best of luck as we revealed our crucial Series 3 final ZoomDown conundrum.
Buzz.
Tom.
Strap knit.
It's not. Rest of the time to L.
Buzz.
Elliot.
Pink start.
Pink start. It's not. It's not. So we'll throw it over to anyone else in the room who has Stephen.
Ooh. Well, it's either knit strap.
Strap knit.
You'd solved it.
Paul?
You'd solved it on Ascension, Stephen.
Yeah. Paul, any clues, Paul?
No idea what the anagram is, but tip pranks is how I start out in show business. That's what I used to sell it.
Stink trap?
No,
We've got a lot of guesses in the chat.
Yeah.
One of them is correct.
None of them are correct.
One of them is.
Thanks for stealing what I was about to say, George.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well
we-
done to our Twitter man Tom Stevenson, who got the correct answer in there, which was
One.
pant skirt.
It's a pants.
Oh,
There we go. Well done, Tom. That's because Tom wears one. He wears one regularly. He does, yeah.
Very good game, Tom. Well played.
Yeah,
I was the only female on the. What is a pants skirt?
I say the only female. There's two. We've got two on today.
Oh, it's
There are rare instances where we have more than
Leslie.
one.
Leslie's
Zoom down.
So Leslie, what's a pants skirt?
She's muted.
She's muted.
I've never heard of a pants skirt.
Pants skirt.
It's basically just a divided skirt. It's like
Like clots.
yeah, like kind of like culottes. Yeah,
Oh, so it's trousers. Oh, really? Okay,
it's
right.
trousers that look like a skirt.
Yeah, okay. Well,
Was
wow.
was that con one Damien had given to you? It sounds like one he'd give.
It was similar to the ones that he has suggested today that he said he could never use on the show. And I believe me, if you'd seen them, yeah, you can understand why they would never use them on the show. You would be, the Channel 4 might be no more. Never mind Countdown. But anyway, well, that was absolutely fabulous. So commiserations, Mr. Cappleman. That was you gave quite a battle.
Yeah, it was fitting to my run. First 4 of my 7 games had an 8-point difference with a conundrum unsolved.
Very unlucky. And I have to say, you probably put the frighteners up Mr. Mellor there when you buzzed in on 23 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I felt like if I didn't know, given Ruth spends all her time knitting, I had to go for one of the options with knitting.
That was what I saw, because I've done a lot of knitting as well. So I saw knit originally, and I thought there must be something linked to this.
Guys, street cred now. Come on, street cred, the knitting. But we should say hearty congratulations to our Series 3 ZoomDown champion, Elliott Mellor. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Very well done. Well played, Elliott Mellor.
Brilliant stuff. Really good.
Brilliant stuff indeed. So very, very well played. Paul, what did you make of that?
Quite incredible. I've obviously been on the TV version quite a lot and in the finals and all the rest of it. But it's just, it's just amazing. My brain kind of switches off. I stop trying to do anything myself because just amazing.
They're so good, aren't they? They're just they don't leave you any room to sort of beat them on any rounds. There's nothing you can do. But Elliott Mellor, how does that feel? So you have 3 ZoomDown trophies. Now, wow, you'll have 2 trophies, but you have 3 ZoomDown titles, 2 Numberists champions, and finally you've got probably the one you wanted, I would say, the regular series.
That was definitely the one that I was gunning for, so it's quite nice to actually win it.
Well, very, very well played, and it's been quite a journey. Quite a journey since you've been on Countdown as well. And I've definitely seen a change in you. You're a different beast of a player now. I have to say, you're a man who knows how to win. So you were always good, but that's a very sort of higher order skill. I think that is under any circumstances you can win, and that's great self-belief.
I think that's the second game in a row that I've blown the max on the conundrum.
It is actually, yes. So we keep giving hard conundrums now. You see.
No, we knew neither of you had seen that one, so it was as I say, Stephen had solved it on Ascension, so I thought we might have got it.
Very few. Chasma as well or something.
Was there a reserve in case it went to a tiebreak?
Yeah.
Do you want it? Will I put it on the board?
Can you put it up just so I can see what it was?
The reserve was quite easy, I think. Yeah.
And then we had a second reserve, which was even easier in case you'd messed that up somehow.
I feel like the pressure's on me.
Yeah.
No.
It is.
Yeah, I think I've got it.
Oh, he's gone. Young mouse has got shades on.
Class hood?
Class hood, yeah, well done.
Yeah.
Class hood.
If I'd got every arrows out of just one.
It's a good thing that you did come out, because if that had been virtually any other vowel, it would have been an utterly awful selection. But I mean, I was really banking on that E coming out in that round.
Yeah, because it was, with the 3 hours and stuff. Well, there was, you needed the E, because there was nothing else really, was there, if you didn't have the E? Yeah, that's right. So we're going to Miss Jevons. How did you enjoy that?
They're really good. I love these kind of people. Rather than feeling intimidated by how good people like Elliott and Tom are, you just love them, that their brains work like that. I've had 3 whiskies.
You probably have a few more now.
Even after 3 whiskies, my brains are never as good as theirs.
I hope you don't have a class in the morning now.
No, that's fine. Thursday night is the kind of end of week thing, which is why it's always nice to come home and do this.
Yeah, and it is. You just have so much respect for their massive brain power.
Oh, they're just so wonderful.
They're nice, and they're nice fellas about it. They're not arrogant about it as well. I mean, normally you think very, very, very clever people, they sort of tend not to be that nice. But like the Countdown people are very, very nice people. They just happen to be very good at what they do.
Yeah. Stephen's never said it out loud, but I think I probably got the worst score. But it's because I'm just a viewer that I don't practice like the lot of you, the rest of you do. So I kind of don't mind coming last, considering I've not. It's like, how well would, I don't know, Linford Christie run if he'd not been practicing for a while? He wouldn't. So
pretty well. Pretty well.
Yeah, that's a really bad example.
Check his lunchbox and see how quickly he catches you.
Oh dear. Yeah, bad example.
Just a reminder, Paul, that Stephen's got another stat for us, I think, as well.
Stephen, yes, we will go back to Stephen. Go for it, Stephen.
Well, I did have a bunch of segments prepared just in case. But I'll truncate it quite a lot because I'm aware that we're running a bit off time. So first off, Elliott set another record on ZoomDown. He's only lost 2 rounds this entire series. Both of them to Toby McDonald. The previous record was 4. That was by our 2 previous series champions, Connor and Rob Foster. And you remember on Monday, George will remember this, that I said I had a stat planned, but it only works if Elliott and TCAP both won. Right. So the biggest win on ZoomDown in a heat game, so when you actually have your seeding matchups, is 65 points. Do you know how many games have been won by more than 65 points on televised countdown just from the people in this Zoom call?
I'm going to go with 2.
Okay. I would go with 15.
Okay. Any other offers?
Somewhere between those, 8.
I'd go higher.
Yeah, it's 20.
I was thinking 20 odd, maybe.
Yeah, actually, probably most of Elliott's games.
32.
A long way, yeah.
Okay, Elliott has 8. TCAP has 7. Mouse, Bradley, and I all have 5.
Oh, nice.
And Paul has 2.
32.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I knew I had tough opponents, but you see, yeah, I know that. Yeah, I did. But it's fab. It's amazing, Stephen. That because I mean, ZoomDown is what we do, Paul. In this, you see, is on countdown they sort of pick people that maybe are quite good and look to give them an octa run. Whereas we only have a maximum of 4 games, so we sort of try and make the games as 50-50 as possible. And I know you had a stat on that, Stephen.
Yeah. I think it's about how likely you are to win each game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll compare it to televised countdown. So on televised countdown, you've got a 31.1% chance of winning your first game. If you manage that, the second game jumps to 64.3%. And then it just increases after that. So by the time you won 7 games, you've got an 85.2% chance of winning game 8. So it's really hard to win the first game. But once you've done that, it gets a lot easier. For ZoomDown, no. Your first game is 49.1%. So basically a coin flip. Your second game actually gets harder. So the win rate for game 2 is 46.4%.
Yeah.
Now it recovers on game 3, but even then it's only 61.5%. And the Tetra Champ game, I think you like to make it the hardest one. And it is. 45.6% of 4th games are won.
That's mad. That's mad to put those into stats, because that was just our model without thinking of stats, really, but just to think, is that a fair game?
Yeah, I don't think you could hand pick opponents to make it more fair.
Well, I think that's a huge justification of our model and how we've gone about it, and I'm delighted to hear that, because that's. I mean, Paul, do you not think that's a good stat? Whereas if you wanted a game at ZoomDown and you entered season 4, we'd try and roughly work out what your level is and give you someone that you have roughly a 50% chance of beating.
Sounds about right, yeah.
But would that appeal? Does that make it more appealing than, say, going on regular countdown, where you think, I could meet an Elliott?
Yeah, although I wouldn't think of going on regular countdown.
There's the man who's had 145 appearances.
Working on your theory, I'd end up paired with someone really thick. I don't want to spend my time with thick.
He'd only be as thick as you, but that's the thing, or as clever as you. That's the thing. So it's, you'd be as thick as each other kind of thing.
I don't want to spend time with people as thick as me.
I'll put the reversing lights on here. Beep, beep, beep. So sorry about that. Yeah, but it's hard phrasing it. But I think that we've always looked to just make sure that it's hard to know. It's a toss of a coin. It depends who plays better. So you're almost, in a way, you're almost playing yourself. You're playing yourself as a baseline, and you have to play slightly better than yourself to win. If you know what I mean? Does that make any sense?
No.
No, it doesn't. No. Say you had a clone of yourself and you were playing yourself. You have to play well rather than sort of be better. If that makes any sense.
About my sex life, to be honest.
Well, you must be doing all right then.
What I like.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. So, Stephen, have you any more to finish off?
Oh, let's see. Well, there is one that I think you might be interested in personally, Paul.
Go on.
So it's about 9-letter words.
Love them.
So 9-letter words are worth 18 points.
They are big points. Lots of points.
So, on Apterus, there's Gevin scoring. So where 9s are only worth 9 points.
Yeah.
I decided to run every ZoomDown game through that scoring to see if anything changed. So 6 games changed. I'll just look at the ones that involve people who are here.
6 games out of how many?
Out of 184 now.
Wow.
So Bradley had one. Your game against James Rowan in Series 1. That would have gone to a tiebreak under Gevin's scoring.
Mm-hmm.
So not much changes there. And the one that concerns Paul, your game against Zubair.
Yeah.
First of all, that wouldn't have happened. Zubair would have lost to Toby McDonald in the last game, so you would have been playing him instead. But if you had played him, under Gevin's scoring, you would have won.
Should have won any Zubair, pesky Zubair. But remembered laureates.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and the other one that's relevant here is Johnny Canuck's 4th game. He would have won that against Enos.
Okay, Dinos beat him.
I like that stat.
Yeah, so interestingly, he still would have played TCAP in the finals, except it would have been in the quarterfinal, not the semi. Because he would have been 2nd seed and Tom would have been bumped down to 7.
No, that's very interesting. Yeah, no, that's very good because it just sort of verifies our model, and I like that. I think we've had brilliant series. I mean, that's 3 series now. And Paul, I should say, it's like with COVID and the reopening, I suppose, of life has sort of affected our numbers a little. This series has been harder. This series, I suppose, than any of the other series. We were bang in the middle of lockdown, and I suppose ZoomDown was very sort of geared for that. When there was bugger all else on the TV, as Connor said one time, there was either I think at the start of lockdown there was either the Tiger King or ZoomDown. Really, that was about it. That's what people were kind of watching at the time. So. It has got harder, and we're going to take a big long break for the summer. We'll be back with season 4 in September, and we have a great opener for it. Our champion James Burley will be playing certain Damien Eadie in our series opener, so hopefully that should get the crowds in.
Yeah, Clash of the Titans.
Exactly. Yeah. So he's been on. We've had him on a hyper special. Was he in the regular series? Did he play?
Yeah,
he did. He played.
Damien's been in every series, hasn't he?
He lost. No, he was only in series 2. I think he lost to.
Hang on.
Harry
Savage. We had him play Tracy Mills as well, or was that the same time? Yeah, it was. Shut up, ignore me.
I think he beat Tracy then, didn't he? And then he lost to Harry Savage. I think, wasn't that right, with a max game?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Harry was very cool, Paul. You would have enjoyed it. He's a Rubik's expert. And he did a blindfolded solve inside the 30 seconds. It's very, very impressive.
There's a real trend amongst magicians for tricks with Rubik's cubes. There's loads of them. In fact, it's very rare to come across a youngish magician that doesn't do a routine with a Rubik's cube.
Right. Did you ever get into it yourself?
No, funny enough, when I first started working in that joke shop in Blackpool, that's when they first came out. And I remember there's one particular season, I can't remember exactly the year, but it would have been probably...
82-ish?
I'm going to say early 80s, yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember at the start of the season, they were £12.99, which was quite a lot of money considering the year.
Really? Wow, yeah.
The same season, they were going for 99 pence because so many people had ripped them off. You know, they'd get all the kind of cheap imports.
Oh, the ones with the stickers. You could just take the stickers off and put them all in the right order again. Yeah, they were all dog-eared.
Or the ones that were just a solid block.
yeah, just painted. Yeah, you go. There you go. That's mad. Yeah, that's a long time ago, that, isn't it? Yeah, I remember getting one for Christmas along with a Tomy thing. Tomies were popular at the time. All those Tomy kind of things that you held them up to your eyes. Do you remember those? It was like a little virtual reality thing, but it was just you sort of played the game in here and you had the buttons up here.
Yeah, it was I think it was the same year that they had. Do you remember Dealy Boppers, which would take the most pointless thing ever? It's like a hairband.
Yeah.
Spring balls on the top of them, and everyone had them. And you go, what is the point? You know, but it's funny. Blackpool really picked up on those fads because it was easy money from the tourists, basically.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I probably ended up buying. Well, I remember my sister probably getting a set of those there. So
I can imagine Damien selling them when he was a teenager. Actually, that's the sort of thing he'd be doing on Blackpool Prom to make a couple of bob.
Do you think he was doing that? Well, we'll have to ask him that the next time he's on. But it's been well. I guess we'll wrap up, guys, because it's what 7 minutes to 10 now. But thank you very, 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 very much indeed. We've been blessed with your presence tonight, so we're very, very appreciative of that. And we'd love to get you on for a celebrity game sometime. If you could think of someone you don't like and you'd love to beat at Countdown, that would be very much appealing.
I don't think of someone thick enough who's a celebrity. It wouldn't be a problem, should it, with the reality shows on? But,
exactly, yeah. But yeah, because we didn't really like the celebrity countdown that they did on the telly, because it was a bit. They sort of minimized the risk, I suppose, for people. There was a flat scoring system where you scored for whatever word you had, whereas we would stick to normal traditional rules. If you get a beating, you get a beating. If you give the beating, you give the beating, I suppose. But definitely something we'd be interested in the future. But it's we're gonna have a nice big long summer off. Just like to say thank you to everyone for watching. If you're watching for the first time tonight, thank you very much.
Thanks everyone.
Give us a like if you've enjoyed what you saw tonight. Don't forget to subscribe. We're going to take a big long break, but before we go, we're going to say thank you very, very much to our darling Fiona, because she's been a rock of ZoomDown and it's her last appearance tonight. So
well, thank you all as well. I've loved doing this and it's been great fun. So yeah.
Well, you'll be missed because you've been kind of part of the furniture here now for a long time, since episode 7, I think. Really, wasn't that it? Callum did first 6.
Yeah, he did the first few. Yeah.
So it's yeah.
Well,
we don't.
Congratulations again to both Tom and Elliott, and
thank you.
Brilliant win, Elliott. So yeah, well done.
Yeah, very, very good. So do we have a photo of Elliott with the trophy?
We don't. No one had time to edit it.
No, we didn't have time to edit it. We normally have a photoshopped kind of really poor image of a kind of holding trophy now. Insert trophy.
Well, we'll send him the trophy and get a decent picture to put on the wiki.
Yes. Exactly, yeah, because Connor and Rob are up there. So there you go. You're in great company now, Elliott. You're up there with
trophy
with Connor and Rob.
Pint of motor oil.
It's the drink. What was he drinking? Did we get any guesses?
We need to find out.
It's Coke. It's Coke.
It's Coke.
Yeah, I know Pepsi's miles better, but I went to my granddad's today and he gave me a can of Coke, so I thought I'll use it on the Zoom call. So
your sponsor, you'll be getting emails from your Pepsi sponsors now going, that's it, breach of contract, that's it. Right, we will leave it there. So everyone, thank you very much for a wonderful season. Have a brilliant summer, and we will see you all in September for ZoomDown Series 4. So till then, thanks to everyone. Thanks to Paul Zenon, and thanks to the whole team, Leslie, and to Stephen, and to our 2 players tonight. So very, very, very well played, and we'll see you in September. So till then, good night, guys.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.